Well, welcome back to the studio. So yesterday I talked about kind of fixing the subjective reality in this painting. And I've done that by simplifying these shapes and cutting out where these kind of differences that go on behind the trees, within the trees, kind of were showing through in the foliage. So now that's fixed. So now the question is, what do I do next? And I'm going to get into actually doing a lot of painting today, but I'm going to discuss how I make the decision of what to do next. So stick around and we'll figure out what I'm going to do next. So on any painting, it often comes up like, what is the next thing to do? Now, if you're working in a process where you've painted a number of paintings in the same stylistic approach, the same subject matter, and you get into kind of a rhythm or kind of a formula of you do A, B, C, and then D, that often doesn't come up that much. But when you're painting in process mode, or where you're painting in something that's still fairly new to you, as this is to me, and you're painting something that is abstracted. So like there's no way my photo can tell me, for example, what color this shape should be or shouldn't be, and should it be light, should it be dark. I'm just making those based on composition and design in terms of what I think is going to look good, first of all, and encourage that movement of the eye. So the way that I break it down the most is there anything I'm sure of in terms of what color or value things are going to be, and then I'll do those first, because then I can make subjective decisions about the next things that I'm going to do. So the things that I'm relatively sure of is that this thin tree over here is a birch type shape, meaning it's going to be a lighter shape. I think this one's going to be a lighter shape, and this one's going to be a lighter shape, so suggestive of birch trees. So since I know that that's what I want to do, that's what I'll go ahead and do next. And then based on how those light shapes kind of change the relationships of everything else, then I'll start making decisions one kind of shape at a time in terms of what color I want these foliage shapes to be. And then finally, what color or value I want these other trees to be. And it may be that they're a fair bit darker, it may be that they're a fair bit lighter, or it may be that they're in a similar value they are now, but I'll make that decision later. So we'll go to the DSLR and the time lapse, and I'll get to work on the rest of these birch trees. hopefully you can start to get an idea of what this piece is going to look like. I'm actually starting to get a glimmer of it in my mind. All of the birch trees are done now, and it's mainly just these other foliage shapes. One other thing that I did is I came in these two birch trees here. I found that the top areas I thought were a little too dark. And so I came in and I just put some of the bounce light of the cool light on this side and a little bit of a rim light along this side just to lighten them up, because I thought that they weren't standing out enough from the sky. The colors were too similar. So I think that looks better now. What I'm going to do tomorrow, actually tomorrow we have Brooke in the studio. We're going to be talking about how you photograph paintings and do the digital imaging on that. So we'll do an episode of that. And I might get a little bit of painting done tomorrow as well. But the next thing to do on this is all of these foliage shapes. And so that's, for me, this is getting close to the time when a painting is really fun. It's that time where you can see most of the painting there resolved, and each little piece that you do is kind of taking it closer and closer towards its final kind of evolution. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give me a like and a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe and spread the word to your friends. We are continually growing, but I'd like this channel to get very, very large and impact as many people as possible. And I welcome your comments and questions. Thank you for your time. As always, I'm Tim Packer.